I want to bring in a friend of the program, and I just love her to death, Alex Clark. She is the host of Culture Apothecary, and she is also, a contributor for Turning Point USA. And I was just on her show. When was I on your show? It was right before Christmas, was it not?
It just came out like a week ago.
Oh, did it really? Oh, is it as bad as I thought it was?
No, it was very controversial, though, which is what we love about you, Glenn.
Really? It was? Oh, I don't remember that. Well, I'll have to watch it. Anyway, Alex, thank you for being on the program. I wanted to talk to you about the new food pyramid because we've turned it upside down, literally upside down. And everything that I grew up being told, no, you got to have breads, and rice and pasta and all that stuff, which doesn't make sense to me. I mean, just if you look at the human body as the body of an animal, no animals are making pasta. It's the stuff that they can grab and eat that is naturally out there. And yet we've made pasta and rice and cereal and all of this stuff at the very bottom of the pyramid. It's now at the tippy top, the little teeny point. That's how much it's changed. How did the food pyramid get this screwed up? How did this happen?
Yeah, well, what is really crazy is that the food pyramid, and I grew up with this because I'm a 90s kid. So when I was growing up, the food pyramid, it just came out in the 90s. This was in every single textbook in public schools. And it really wasn't designed for health like we all thought. Come to find out, it was all designed for profit. And so it was not just bad science, it was completely rigged. So the dietary guidelines were written by these committees that were riddled with conflicts of interest. They were people that were tied financially to grain producers, the sugar interest groups, ultra-processed food companies. It was all really to benefit them, not the American people. And so once those guidelines exist and they're put in something like the food pyramid, which is the government saying, hey, this is what's healthy, they basically become law without ever even being voted on. So like school lunches are using these guidelines for what they serve our children. Hospitals are using these guidelines, nursing homes, the military, all of them have to follow them. And so you really just needed lobbying to decide what food was given to American kids. It wasn't about good nutrition. And so that's kind of why the grains, like you're talking about, were put at the bottom of the pyramid, saying, we need more grains, not because, human beings out of nowhere evolved to needing 11 servings of grain a day. It was because they were cheap, we were subsidizing them, they were shelf stable, and they were really profitable, right? So that had nothing to do with health. And we were also told that fat was the enemy. So I'm sure you remember, Glenn, like everyone was saying low fat.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, and we got fat once everybody started going low fat.
Yes. So we were told butter was bad, eggs were the enemy, beef, red meat was bad for you. They're all dangerous. And so it all kind of ends up leading to higher rates of heart attacks and heart disease. And the group eating less fat had more heart attacks. And they buried this data for 16 years. We knew that this was happening because basically if we admitted the truth, the government knew and all of these industries knew that we would have like this entire, all of these rigged industries, right, would be very upset with us, essentially. And so we told them, we told people fear fat. You got to replace it with sugar, replace it with ultra-processed food and carbs. And we ended up going to high sugar. And that's because when you remove fat, so when we told everyone to remove fat, you have to replace it with sugar because otherwise the food tastes like cardboard. So the industry started adding in more sugar into our food. Like even mayonnaise or deli ham has tons of sugar in it if you look closely at the ingredients now. And so we added refined starches and chemical flavorings. And then we were like, this is heart healthy. The American Heart Association was putting their little label on things saying this is heart healthy. And then that's how you end up with cereal and fruit juice in schools. And so that's kind of, there's so much I could say, but that's the why the food pyramid was bad. And this is why we really needed to change it in the first place. And so now this is why the new dietary guidelines matter so much. So do you want to know what we've done now and what's so great about it?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, this is exciting. For the first time, maybe ever, Glenn, the government is telling parents the truth, at least about this. I don't know about a lot of other things, but at least about the
Jeez.
food pyramid. So we're saying, in these new dietary guidelines, kids need real food. They need protein, not cereal, real protein, eggs, meat, whole milk, not skim milk. That's a huge thing. We were telling parents for a really long time that you want to strip fat out of milk and basically want them to drink flavored water. But fat helps kids feel full. It also slows sugar absorption. It supports brain development. So we really want that whole milk in there. And the new protein recommendations are 50 to 100% higher. So that is like a massive difference. We shouldn't, obviously, you want your kids to eat their vegetables, and fruit is healthy too. But the main thing, if your kids are struggling eating at the dinner table, I would say to parents, be like, let's eat our protein. Whatever the meat is on the plate, like that's really what you should be focusing on getting them to eat more than anything. And then, try to encourage them to try vegetables or whatever. But the new guidelines, this is going to stop demonizing fat also. Butter is back. Full fat dairy, like I said, is back. Beef is back. And that matters because when you remove fat from kids' diets, you really make them hungrier, and hungry kids reach for sugar. And so this is all leading to the obesity crisis that we find ourselves in, where nearly half of American teenagers are obese or overweight, which is really, really awful because that's leading to a lifetime of chronic disease. And the guidelines are also for the first time acknowledging that ultra-processed foods are not harmless. These are foods that are associated with diabetes, mental health challenges like anxiety and depression, which, of course, we know is through the roof. And so these will change what's served in school lunches, hospitals, daycares. It's just really an exciting time in America, and no one should be upset about this. Anyone who's upset about this, you should be questioning them, because this benefits everyone, no matter if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever. This should be a totally nonpartisan win.
It's amazing. What an exciting time to be alive. I mean, I don't know how it's all going to come undone. I mean, think of the billions of dollars that these corporations are making all the time, and how they're all connected and using scraps that should never be used in food. So I don't know how it ends, but what an exciting time to be alive, where so much of our lives are completely being turned upside down. And I think the truth is actually being exposed. Did you hear about water? They're now saying that this water thing is a lie, that you should have 8 glasses of water. They're like, no, drink when you're thirsty. That whole water thing, at least that's what I heard. Do you agree with that, or did you hear that?
I do. So here's what's interesting. We tell Americans to drink so much water, and yet we're all so dehydrated and constipated. Right. And the reason is it's the type of water we're drinking, honestly, Glenn. So we're drinking all of this bottled water that says purified on it. And purified water is completely stripped of all of the vitamins and minerals that you want in water that actually hydrate you. So really, we should be looking for spring water. So if you ever at an airport and you see like Evian, I'm not sponsored by any water brands, but if you see Evian or Mountain Valley or Saratoga or whatever, like those are, if they say spring water, that would be an optimal on-the-go water to grab, not purified.
What they're saying is with the water is that we are drinking so much of it, but we're not getting the vitamins and minerals, even salt and everything else that we're supposed to get out of water. And they're saying drink the right water. Just drink regular water and drink when you're thirsty, and that's fine.
Yeah, so that's why drinking that spring water has all of the salt and the magnesium and the minerals that you need. And if you have to drink purified water, because that's the only thing available to you is bottled purified, then you want to add electrolytes. So those like electrolyte packets, you want to add that to your water because that will have those minerals.
Let me switch topics. I could go on with you all day. I'm going to do a special on this, and you and I talked about. I'm going to see if I can biohack my own body because I need to. Anyway, but I want to do a special on some of this, and I'd love to have you out for it because there's just so much I could talk to you about. The vaccines. Can you just hit on that quickly? Because some parents are freaking out. Can you talk about that at all?
Oh, this is so good for parents. And the reason why is you should really feel encouraged and alleviated, because now the government is saying, you know what, parents do know best. You do know best for your own child. We were at over 70 vaccines recommended, okay? 70 vaccines that a child should take between 0 and 18 years old.
That's crazy.
Now it's at 11. And this is really designed to protect kids earlier. It's safer and smarter than before. The CDC didn't just randomly add shots or move things around or take things away. Everything is based on decades of research, real world evidence, what actually works to keep kids healthy. And we're mimicking what Denmark does. They have a really smart approach. They focus on giving vaccines at the ages when a child's immune system is most ready to respond. They're not overloading babies with multiple shots too early. They're spacing things out carefully. They only combine vaccines when it makes sense, and they monitor safety closely. So that is exactly what the new CDC schedule is moving towards now with these 11 vaccines. They're spaced out in a way that matches how a child's body naturally develops immunity. And it's all evidence-based. It's thoughtful. It's designed to make the schedule easier to follow. And of course, what I love most of all is that this admin, the Trump admin, really believes that parents know best. And they want parents to have the most up-to-date and non-compromised information so that you as a parent can make an informed decision for your child. And the admin, Glenn, does not say this, but I will. If what you believe is the best thing for your kid is no vaccines at all, you have that right, and you should feel confident in that.
Isn't it odd that the guy who I believe is 95% McDonald's, I mean, his body makeup is 95%, maybe 2% French fries from some other place, is the guy who is allowing this to happen. And yet so much of this is stuff that the left has been for so long. And now because it's Donald Trump that did it, and it's really not him, it's RFK. Now that he's the guy who did it, so many people are just rejecting it out of hand. It's nuts.
Yeah, what I love about President Trump is he really shows what true freedom should look like when it comes to health. So President Trump is saying, I want you to unlock and unleash all of the true evidence and science, get all of the corrupt, compromised studies out of here, let people see the truth, and then they decide for themselves. And President Trump sees the truth and he decides for himself. Now, I just read a quote from him the other day where he said, bring in the poison. And somebody brought in like a case of candy bars or something. And he said, he picked like one thing and he said, okay, get the poison out of here. So like he's making just, he might be slowing his roll on the junk food a little bit. But yeah, he does love fast food and McDonald's. But you know what? He sees the true science, he knows the truth, and he's making a decision for himself as an adult.
Yes.
And that's what it should be about, is we get to decide for ourselves. That is true freedom.
Yes. Alex, so good to talk to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything you do. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Glenn.
You bet. You can find her youtube.com at Real Alex Clark. We watched the thing. We did it at TPUSA. I don't remember what was so controversial about it. Do you remember?
It was about Islam.
Oh, it was about Islam. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that one was a little controversial, but you should see the speech I just gave on Friday, too. Watch those back to back. You won't sleep for a week. Anyway, youtube.com at Real Alex Clark. Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now. Sign up. No interruptions. Just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch. Take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.